Hey everybody, Squatch Reloading here. Today is going to be a fun day. We are kicking off our 10mm load series, and I've been looking forward to this. I've talked about it for a while, but we're going to get started on it. And how I'm kind of envisioning this all to work out is I want to develop a load, and we'll do that on one of my Redding T7s. So we'll develop a load, test it, and then we will transfer that load data into our XL750 because we got a new tool head that needs setup. So I thought it'd be a great time to get two things done at once. But the first step in this load series is picking our bullet. And what I have is an offering from Accura Outdoors. This is their 180 grain hollow point, and it's a precision bonded bullet, and it's copper plated. So what's interesting about Accura Outdoors is they got their start manufacturing the power belt. And you guys that hunt with a muzzleloader or in the muzzleloading community know what I'm talking about, the power belt. And it's a great bullet for muzzleloading. It's accurate. It's one of the premier hunting rounds. So what Accura Outdoors has done is taken those same manufacturing techniques, the same principles behind the power belt, and developed a line of handgun bullets. So I'm really excited to try these out. But what we're going to do first is we know that quality and precision in the bullet translates into quality and precision and accuracy at the range. So we're going to put these bullets to the test here in the shop. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some measuring. We're going to do a weight confirmation, and I'm going to take a sample size of 100 pieces. And I imagine I'm probably going to regret doing that many, but that's what we're going to do. It's going to be a very generous sample size so we get a good idea of what the variation is over a large subgroup of samples. So we're going to do weights. We're going to check the overall diameter of the bullet. We're going to check the overall length, which may not be as critical because in reloading we're more concerned with the ogive measurement, but I want to see what the length variation is. And then I don't have a bullet comparator, but I think I've got a backwoods way that we can get a pretty good idea about the ogive and the shape consistency of the bullet. So I'm going to try it. It may not be totally scientific, but it's going to give us some data, and that's really what we're interested in. So a little disclaimer here. I'm not an expert in bullet manufacturing, but I'm just curious as to what the consistency is. I have an engineering background, so that's kind of in my DNA. So just to satisfy my own curiosity and present you guys with some raw data that you can make your own determination with, that's kind of the goal. So let's get started checking out some of these bullets. Okay guys, let's take a look at this 500 count box of bullets that we got from Accura Outdoors. So let's just see how they look. Well, they look, the plating looks very nice. It's shiny. It doesn't look to have any thin spots. I mean, the fit and finish look pretty good. And, you know, as you can see, these are kind of like a round nose hollow point. Okay guys, so we finished weighing 100 bullets. So I want to kind of give you an idea of my experience with bullets from various manufacturers that I've used. I've probably used probably six or eight different manufacturers, whether it be plated bullets, jacketed, or even some of the commercial cast, high-tech coated bullets. And typical variation that I've seen, and I've never measured 100 like I have today, but the typical variation that I've seen from the weight perspective. And another thing I'll note is it seems to grow exponentially with the weight of the bullet. So some of the 9mm, down to 115 grain, has a smaller variation to their counterpart up into the 147 grain. So I suspect that's probably the same, as we get into the 180, 200 grain bullets. But these bullets, and based off my experience, I've seen anywhere from 0.5 to 2 grains, 2 full grains variation in the weight. These bullets that I measured today, or weighed today, the low weight that I got was 179.7 grains, and the high weight was 180.2. So that's a total variation or a spread of half a grain or 0.5 grains. So in my opinion, that's right up there with some of the higher end bullets that you can buy, and so the quality is there as far as the consistency in the weight of the bullet. So aside from the weight variation, another aspect of this that I was most curious about was the average outside diameter. And the reason being is it shows us a couple things. One, it shows us how well the manufacturing process is at the bullet manufacturer and their sizing. And then it also is an indicator of what we can expect as far as cut pressures and velocities and accuracy based off our own sizing process. So the key to hand loading and reloading is to build a consistent round, and we strive to build a better round than what you would buy off the shelf. So with that all being said, looking at the bullet from Accura Outdoors, I saw a very consistent outside diameter of 0.401, and that was the lowest measurement that I took. The highest measurement that I took was 0.4015. So what we know is that within the 100 rounds that I checked, there was only a 5/10 thousandths change or variation in the outside diameter. So that's a good thing. So the more variables that we can make consistent and have good reproducibility, the better that our load is going to be. So moving on to the overall length of the bullet. This probably isn't a critical dimension. We're mainly concerned with the base to ogive measurement because that's going to show us what the consistency is as far as the bullet shape and the casting process, and then also affects us when we're developing a case overall length, where that ogive is going to line up and keeping that bullet out of our lands and grooves of our rifling. But to satisfy my curiosity, I wanted to just check the overall length. And as far as the overall length goes, The low end measurement that I got was .6065, and the high measurement was .6125. So there's a total variation of 6 thousandths, and I think that's probably fine. I mean, because there's a lot of things that play into there. There's flashing and stuff like that as far as where the hollow point is, and the plating tolerance stack up. So that's probably not a big issue. And I also checked some of the other bullets that I had laying around, and that seems to be pretty much the norm. So. All right, so that leaves us to our final measurement. And first of all, I want to apologize, guys. I don't have a bullet comparator, and I probably should, just to better up my game as far as, especially with my precision rifle stuff. But when it comes to straight walled cartridges, especially like in this 10mm series, what we want to do is make sure that one, that our cartridge is seating by its case mouth on the chamber. And there's a couple ways we can check that. One is, obviously the plunk test and making sure that our cartridge spins freely and that we're seated all the way down. But when it comes to ogive, from your cartridge base to the ogive of your bullet, that's probably more critical when we talk about precision rifle or reloading rifle rounds in general, to make sure that your bullet's not contacting the lands and grooves, or you're rifling in the chamber. So my method, like I said, pretty crude. I used a case gauge that I know is precision ground. It's machined, so I'm going to get an accurate representation or an accurate location on the bullet, and then also my calipers, and I know that they're precise. So I was able to, even with my method, I only saw 2 thousandths overall spread in my base to ogive measurement of the bullet. So I thought that was pretty impressive. One, that my measuring method was able to be repeatable, but also the variation in the bullet. So that tells us that the shape is very consistent. The casting process and the plating process isn't having much effect on that bullet profile, and it still remains very consistent. So there's all 4 of our measurements. Alright guys, so there you have it. This is the bullet that we're going to use in our 10mm load series. Again, these are the 180 grain hollow points from Accura Outdoors. So I'm really looking forward to putting these bullets to the test. And again, maybe just to here's what I'm thinking on the load series, is we're going to do the load development here on one of my Redding T7s. So we'll get the load finalized, and once we're happy with it, we'll move that load data over to the Dillon XL750. There's a tool head that's just sitting over there on the bench that needs set up anyways. So it'd be a great, leapfrog over, from the turret to the progressive, translating all that load data over to the other press. I think that would be something that would be fun to do. But don't forget to check us out over on Facebook and Instagram at Squatch Reloading. All these videos are over on Utah Gun Exchange, Gun Streamer, and the Reloaders Network. So until next time, guys, God bless.